going on, everyone? And welcome back to Solomon's Crown. Back at it again with another video review. You see the title, husband married to his wife for 21 years, says that she took out 17K out of their joint account without discussing to lend to her brother. Pretty,
But
pretty.
before we start that, don't forget to hit that sub
Oh,
button.
yeah.
Don't forget to hit the bell notification. Once we get a little more settled, we're going to start making animations. So remind you guys, we're looking for an editor. If anybody edits at a decent price, let us know. But hit the sub button. We're posting out videos
For
maybe
sure.
2 to 3 a week. So to keep this content going so that we stay motivated and excited about this, we'd like you to sub and let us know in the comment box what you guys think so we can start on new discussions and
Yep.
get to the root cause of all this debauchery. But let's get it started.
Married to my wife for 21 years.
Mm-hmm.
We've been together for 25 years.
Okay.
She took 17 grand out of my account to give to her brother
Ooh.
without letting me know.
Ooh.
Is it a joint account or your account?
It's a joint account.
All right, so she
It was
took
her money.
17K from our account, is what
Correct.
you should say. No, your.
Our account, but she didn't let me know until I found out.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm just gonna gloss over that.
Has anything like this ever happened before?
negative. Negative.
Okay, and
Never happened before. So I'm a little disappointed. And then it's only when I found out. She didn't tell me about it.
mm-hmm.
And then when she told me for her brother, and I'm like, 17K? Really? You didn't discuss this beforehand?
I agree with you, Damien, but what you need to do is have this conversation with her, okay? And instead, let her talk. Instead of telling her that it's wrong and, you know, don't say this is my money that I work hard for. You do an office job, I do manual labor. That doesn't matter. You know, you guys are both contributing to the household fund. What made her feel like she could do this without consulting with you? Maybe she felt like if she asked you, you would say no. I don't know what her reason is. Right? But she just needs to know how it made you feel and why it made you feel that way. And that it breaks a trust that you might have had in her, knowing that she
feelings
would
are
do
so
something
good.
like this
No,
now
no.
because
I
she's
need to
never
see
done
this.
anything like this before.
Okay, I get that.
You know, so you need to approach it like, look, I love you. We haven't had any issues. You've never done anything like this before. Let's have an honest conversation on why you felt like this would be appropriate. And then I will let you know how this made me feel. But I would love to hear what your explanation is so we can discuss this and move forward knowing that we can't do things like this because we have a bond and we have a trust that we can't break.
I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon.
Yeah, she's wild for that statement. Do not call the Breakfast Club for
Yeah, that's not Breakfast Club. She split off. That's her own thing. But
That
that's
is-
absolute trash.
that's
The trashiest take. Like the
that's-
garbage juice in the bottom of the dumpster. That's how garbage that take is.
Nah, there ain't no way. They've been married for 21 years. She's never done anything like that before.
That's cap.
Like, that's wild.
Because I mean, common sense will tell you there's no way she went from not doing anything to like sneaking 17K from their joint account.
And that's the thing too, is like, if it wasn't that serious, then she should have just told him, period. And the thing is
Exactly.
like she tried to flip it. Oh, tell her how you feel and why
Nah,
you're feeling this
bruh.
and feeling that. Like,
Bro, the
ain't
sisterhood is
no-
undefeated, bro. The sisterhood is like this chick doesn't know her from Adam and Eve, and she somehow is making justifications for her.
making
Because it's
excuses.
like, because she's like, oh, is it your account or a joint account? It's like, oh, so they took it from our account. It's like, no,
That doesn't matter.
no. The fact that it's our account, meaning the dude and the wife, she has to be like, hey, honey, like my brother's in XYZ situation. Can I take 17K? Okay, let's discuss it. That's the definition of our account. If it was her money now in her
Yeah.
account, by all means, help your brother out. But you can't go into the joint account and talk about like, oh, it's our account, and she's like talking about like, oh, don't get mad, just tell you how you feel. Like, nah, bro.
Nah, bro.
That's
Like
a
that
huge
shit
breach.
is
That's a huge breach of trust because it's like that's the number one thing that divorces happen after
And you
money.
know she gets off the podcast and like, oh, that's wild. Like that she's wild, and you know she took that money and did this, and that with that. Because that's the thing is like they'll make justifications for these
No,
other women and not hold them accountable at all. And if you looked in the comment boxes while I was scrolling down, literally everybody was like, nah, she's wrong, she's wrong,
she's
she's
wrong.
wrong. But that's the thing is like that's wild.
That's
Like
beyond wild.
$17,000 is not just like, oh yeah, like I just took $17,000 out to fucking like what does your brother
No, bro.
need that's $17,000?
Exactly.
Like
Exactly,
and on
bro.
top of that, like setting boundaries between your family and general, bro. Like me giving somebody $17,000 if like my mom did a contract with my uncle for $4,000
You think
because my
this is a
uncle
game?
needed
Like,
some
yeah.
money and my mom was like, okay, I got it, but like write up a contract, you'll pay me by this date. And that's with family to family because like as everybody knows, like just because they're family doesn't mean that they're gonna be loyal to you.
Exactly.
So it's like you gave your brother $17,000. What happens if something happens in your life?
That's
Is
it.
your brother just gonna be like, and the thing is like, okay, your brother's asking to borrow $17,000. When is he gonna get this money back? What happens if your brother just literally blows that $17,000 on something random? And on top of that, like the fact that she was sneaky about it, I mean,
Exactly.
who knows what she actually did with the $17,000? Like maybe it's
Because
some dude
yeah.
who was like, "Oh, well, if you want to run away from your husband, we need this much money. Like, just take this much money out of your account and give it to me." And then a dude could have finessed her.
I mean, it just blows my mind every day. The more and more I just see how certain women, not all, but certain women will act, and it's like, don't you see that's a gross breach of trust there?
That's like the most diabolical. I'd
Because
rather like walk in on her cheating on me than look at my account and like all my hard work is just like in somebody else's bank account.
and it's like even if that's 50-50, that's super hypocritical to be like, oh, just see how you feel, how you feel. What if it was on the other foot and the man was helping out his sister? Like she'd probably divorce him on the spot.
Oh yeah, facts. It'd be a big ordeal. Like, oh, he just like talking to the sisterhood, like, oh, he took out $17,000 and gave it to his sister. Like, even my like family, like me and my family are pretty chill. Like, I let my mom borrow money one time to
Mhm.
fix up the house, but technically I own the house. So
Yeah.
it was like my mom, I trust my mom. My mom's always been there for me. And she even asked me because my mom had access to my account. So she could have
Mhm.
literally just been like, yo, I took out $10,000 from your account, like to fix the house, this, and that. But she didn't. She literally was like, hey, I need this much money. If you want, we can draw up a contract and we'll be done with it. And I was like, no, it's fine. Like my mom
Pre-
raised me and she's living in the house. Like she's done everything for me. So
mm.
why wouldn't I give back to my mom?
But you see, the
And
key thing is not the fact that she raised you or whatever, which makes sense. I mean, but at the same time, she respects you enough as a man,
yeah,
even though she's your son, and she could be like, "Yo, I'm entitled to this." Blah blah. Blah. She respects you as her son and as a man to be like, "Yo, that's my son's money.
yeah.
I'm gonna make sure I do it right."
And ask because my mom literally had access to my account. She could have took the money out. I
Yeah,
had more than enough money in that account, and she could have just been like, "Yo, I took $10,000 out of your account to fix the house, blah blah blah, this and that." But she was like, "I need to do this. I'm gonna ask you because it's your money. You decide what you want to do with your money." And I was like, "Yeah, like it is what it is. Like that's my mom." On top of that, like whenever she sold me the car, like we used to have the family car and
mhm.
there was like $9,000 left on it. And she was like, yo, I can sell you this car. It's good to go. This, and that. And I was like, yeah, I'll buy it. Gave her the money. Easy transaction.
But
So,
I mean,
but my mom
I
could have
don't.
literally just took out 19, like $20,000 out of my account and been like, yo, appreciate you, fam. Like I raised you. And we've seen that shit happen a lot
Yeah,
where people like mothers raise their
the-
kids and their kids will come into money and it's like, well, I raised you, so this is my money. Like you
I
owe me.
mean, there's literally a situation that's going on in the news right now. I forget which basketball
Yeah,
player it
I saw
is,
that too.
Ludic or whatever. I believe he's from Slovenia,
His
and
mom
like,
owns the copyrights
yeah,
to his name
to his name.
and
So
he's trying
she's
to change his
yeah,
branding and yeah. But we'll
yeah.
cover that. We'll look at the article. But Yeah, I
But
mean, what does everybody think? Like, I think
I
that
mean,
this is wild.
honestly, if you want to keep it a stack, I would either see that as grounds for divorce or keep it in the back of my head to be like, what else other things she did being dishonest in? Because the fact that she just did that, probably would in her head, she thinks that he would say no. So
Oh,
there's
facts.
probably like some kind of issue going on there. And she went behind his back and did it and didn't respect him because that's like money, like that's a big no-no when it comes on to like marriage. Like she shouldn't there's no excuse for that,
I
period.
mean, I could see if it was like, yo, $1,000, like anything up to like 2,500, maybe
Mm,
3,000. I get what you're saying. I know I
But
get, but
but
like
even it
that's like not breaking trust. That's just kind of like, hey, like imagine. So if he had 17,000 in the bank, of course he's got a little bit more. Maybe he doesn't. But if he had 17, we're looking at it from the $17,000 paid. If she would have took out $2,000, it wouldn't have been that big a deal out of 17,000. But she took
mhm,
like that's a cart. Like that's
yeah.
like
No,
you
that's a big breach of trust, bro.
oh yeah, facts. Like 100% like do not trust you at all. And then literally at that point in time, I'm looking back into everything you did. I need to like
Because that's not benign. That's not benign shit. That's like definitely some shit that he probably overlooked or some other hidden shit. Because you don't just like build a marriage of 21 years, 21 years, and then you just like go behind your husband's back and give $21,000 to, or not 21,000,
17,000.
17,000 to your brother. It's like nah, bro.
And that's the thing too, is like what if it was not her brother and it was like her homegirl or like any of this shit. And this the thing is like we've seen it time over and time again where like women will literally be like, "Oh, but that's my best friend or that's my family and this and that." And it's like I get that, and that's where like men and women are different, like because men like to act on logic and women will literally act on emotion. Like as she said, "Oh, think about how she feels. Tell her how you feel." This is like, what is that doing for my money getting back in my account? What is that doing for her not telling me why she pulled $17,000 out of my account when we've been married for 21 years, we've been together for 25 years? Like, no, like that's just making excuses and that's her not holding this woman accountable for her actions.
I mean, what like I rarely hear. I mean, outside of maybe Pearly things and her circle of friends or like women that actually make sense on her podcast. I really hear women and probably that other chick, it's Tay Baby, whatever her name is.
Oh yeah.
But like a lot of like, bro, it's just mind numbing, bro.
Well,
Like
that's the
you,
thing too, is like even I mean, I'm not gonna get off topic. It'll be
because
another
you have
discussion.
like these so-called leaders, like Angela, you would be looked as a leader in the black community, and she's filling up this man's head with the garbage, bro.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, okay, because it's like no, bro, like you need to investigate her or just like should have divorced her ass, bro, because that's just beyond wrong, bro.
But that's the
That's
thing that
beyond
they've
wrong
already
to
talked
me.
about is like these women have these platforms. I think it was Pearly Things where she was like,
Hmm.
all these women have platforms who aren't good role models for women.
No,
They're literally the worst role models that most of these women can have. And the women who watch them feed off of drama, feed off of like um getting reassured that what they're doing isn't too crazy and that oh, it's okay to fucking take $17,000 out of your husband's account because it's your guys' account. It's a
mm,
joint account. Like, but wouldn't that mean that you guys hold joint responsibility for
visibility, exactly.
where this
You want
money
to
is
overlook
going?
that. You want to overlook that. You want to overlook that. Just like, for instance, in the military, right? A lot of us, were used to, or you know, have responsibility for certain equipment. Can I be like, oh, I'm gonna take this government laptop because it's mine because I'm a part of the U.S. Marine
Program,
Corps, so
yeah.
I'm
And
gonna
I
take this.
felt like I
I
needed
felt
to use this.
yeah, this is my computer. It's like, no, that's the U.S. government's computer. It's the U.S. government's property, right? You have to
That's like
ask. You have to have
that's like
permission to
working
use
at a
it.
bank and being like, oh well, I
Exactly.
felt like I needed to take 20,000 from the bank so I could pay my
Yeah.
bills. Like, no, that's not how the world works. Like,
Man,
feelings will literally get you
it must be
nowhere.
nice. It must be nice living in that type of la la land, bro. Like I can't even
Because that's
fathom
the
it,
thing
bro.
is like, think about all men who are role models or strong influencers. Most of them are like straightforward. They're literally telling men, stop playing video games, stop beating your meat, stop chasing after females. Uh, like just stop with all the bullshit. Like you're not gonna get where you want to be. You're not gonna get where I'm at if you keep on doing the same old shit that you're doing. What you need
Hmm.
to do is elevate yourself, read books, educate yourself, learn a new trade, learn a new trick, all these things. And what do women do on their side? They make excuses for women, talk about don't blame the victim. You weren't in the wrong, even though you were in the wrong. It's okay. Like think about Mia Khalifa and all these porn stars
Yeah.
now who are literally just like, why is everybody like treating me like I did porn for 7 years? It's like because you did porn for
For
7 years, bro.
7 years.
Like you can't just be like, yo, I sucked a million dicks and now I want to be a doctor and I want to be respected in my career field. You literally have to live with the consequences of your actions. And that's the thing is like, it's accountability. Like Mia Khalifa literally tried to rebrand herself and be like, if anybody talks about my past, you're going to get banned or I'm going to report you. This is, it's like, that's not how the world works. That's not how the world works. Like, I get it that you guys want to live in this bubble with other women who are just like, it's okay that you took back shots for 3 years. You're the victim. You didn't know any better. You're young. It's okay. It's cool. And it's fine. It's fine to make young mistakes because men make young mistakes too.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if somebody charges you up about a past mistake, you have to own up to it.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, I did that. Yeah, I was a different person then. But I'm not gonna be like, "Hey, I want you to feel bad for me because I didn't have a choice. Like, I couldn't go to college. I couldn't do this. I couldn't do that." And the thing is, like, Mia Khalifa didn't even start off as like a porn star. She could have literally just put pictures out of herself. And that's the worst part is like she did porn and then now she has like her OnlyFans and her only sites where she's just like, I only do pictures with lingerie and like
Like
outfits.
ass backwards, bro.
It's like we literally know what you look like naked. Like you literally can type your name into Google, and the first thing that's gonna pop up is porn. Not Mia Khalifa graduated for Arizona State. Not Mia Khalifa is fighting for women empowerment and all this other shit. It's like, and that's the thing too, is like these women try to flip it into, okay, I did this because I had no other options. So now I want to help other women not make the same choices that I'm making. But the women that they're trying to help are actually being oppressed. Like they're not like, oh well, I don't got anything going for me, so I'm gonna go suck dick. They're literally being like, I can't go to school, I can't like I'm being oppressed by men, my father, my husband, my
Hmm.
brothers, stuff like this. And they try to act like they're these like role models who can like relate to them and be like, oh, well, I did porn because I was in the same situation you were in. And this was the only way I could make money. And I feel so bad for you. And it's like, that's such a cop out for me.
I mean, as you said, man, some women decide to do that. It is what it is. I guess they're supplying a demand. I don't know. But don't be like, oh, feel sorry for me, pity, whatever. Because there's a bunch of porn stars where they like pretty much disappear off the face of the planet because they know what time it is.
There's also
Some
porn
some
stars who own up to the shit. Like, what is it?
yeah,
Lisa
like
Ann,
yeah, like
Pinky.
yeah, they have
Uh,
like studios and productions, and they're like, yo, this is what I am.
this is what I do. Like they own up to it. And that's the thing, is like that's accountability.
Yeah,
Like Lisa Ann literally is like, yo, I'm a top porn star and I have a porn business. I run porn businesses and I'm
yeah.
trying to make it so that women in porn can do
Can do it the
better and
right
not
way.
be abused.
Yeah,
So that's what her selling point is. And that is a noble cause because we all know that sex work and porn and all this stuff is going to be around,
it's
but
gonna always gonna be around. Yeah,
she's making a safe space for women who actually just want to be like, yo, this is a profession. I want to go into it, but I also want to be protected. I want to be treated with respect and all these things. And that's cool. Like, we don't care if you're doing OnlyFans. We don't care if you're doing porn. We don't
Yeah.
care like what you're doing. But when you try to flip it and be like, yo, I'm a victim and I only did it because of this and everybody should feel sorry for me and this and that. No, you get no
No,
sympathy, bro.
no.
That's just not happening. But the thing is, it's like women like on the whatever, I don't even know what her name is, like the chick on the Breakfast Club who just did
Well,
the
Angela Yee.
yeah, like when she goes into like, oh, tell people how you feel and your feelings matter and this and that. And it's like, no, tell him that he needs to hold his wife accountable for her actions. He needs to have a real life sit down for real and be like, yo, what's the deal? Why didn't you tell me this, and that? Period. There's no feelings involved, and
I
this is
mean,
like all that, but
the biggest mistake is that he went on to Angela Yee's platform and called it in the first place. But that's
I
just my
mean, yeah.
opinion.
I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, for sure he should have been talking to a lawyer instead of like
I mean, another thing too, we probably shouldn't have brought that up on the public,
but that's the thing too, is like these influencers and these people, they try to portray that they're here to help people. And that's why people trust them enough to be like, hey, I listen to your radio show every day. You guys normally give people pretty good advice, but it's like these people aren't qualified to give any type of advice. Like I remember when Charlemagne the God was on, like anytime something happened, he had a statement to say. And then I'm just like, who is this guy? Like, he's a talk show host, bro. It's like me being in like needing therapy and going to talk to Joe Rogan. It's like, what is this doing for me, bro? Like, he's
bruh,
not trained to help me with my actual problems. Now, granted, like people do have a lot of experiences and things like that, but they're not professionals. And we treat these influencers and these talk show hosts and all these other people as if they're
the
somebody who
law,
can
yeah, the
like,
word is law, you know.
yeah, like whatever they say is like, oh, this is what it got to be. It's not. Like you can argue with people, you can debate with them. Like truthfully, if I would have called in just like me being me, I would have been like, "What are you talking about?" Like, like I was like, "This woman took $17,000 out of my account, and you
Like,
want me
like,
to talk about my feelings and how it
like,
made me feel?"
bruh, when she said like, "Oh, you're right," but I would have just hung up the phone after that.
Yeah,
There's no
facts.
but, bruh.
There is no
There's no
but.
but.
And the thing is, like, where she was just like, "Oh, so is it a joint account or is it your account?"
Yeah, I'm gonna hang up the phone. Like you good.
It's like, why would that matter? Why would
Like,
that matter? I was like, regardless, they're married. One, two, why the fuck does that matter? Like, what? Like, did she take it up? Did she take the $17,000 out of your account? Like, or like that conjoined account that has her name on it, but maybe she contributes to it. But obviously, he's calling because he's probably the breadwinner in that situation.
probably.
So obviously he's making more money than her, but you can't say stuff like that because feminists are gonna come out and be like,
Misogyny.
yeah, like, oh my goodness, like he's a man making more money trying to take control of the money in the household. Oh my goodness, how misogynistic of him. It's like somebody has to think with logic because if you think that you can take out $17,000 and give it to your brother and that's not gonna affect you, at that's wild. Especially in the day and age we live in now,
The inflation and all that shit. Like,
bro, $17,000
that's
could be
life changing.
that literally could be life changing. What if you
For a
default
lot
to
of
like,
people, for the vast majority of people in the world, that's all, bruh.
but that's another thing too, is like, I mean, women are the number one consumers, so they don't look at money.
Mm,
It's like they just work to
it's just
spend money.
disposable, yeah.
And this is proven fact, so don't try to come at me and be like, oh, you're just being a hypocrite or whatever word they're gonna use this week. It's literally proven that women are the number one consumers, period.
Yep.
Women make money to spend money. And that's why all these women walk around with Gucci purses and Louis Vuittons and all this other stuff. And they got no futures, no like real goals. Because to be honest, we'll get into it later. because just Pearly Things talked about it, where she was just like, so women need men because men are the main reason why everything is the way it is, like infrastructure, jobs, maintaining society, things like that.
Mhm.
Because women don't want to take on that responsibility, and the women who do take on the responsibility don't get the support that they need. Because women don't want to hold each other accountable, or they just don't want to deal with a bunch of bullshit that doesn't revolve around them.
They don't want to be uncomfortable.
So check us out on TikTok and Instagram for that clip, and then check us out for the next video where we will discuss that and go deeper into it, because we've been ranting for a little bit, but it's just one of those things where like
Wow, man.
there's no way that that's okay. Period.
Anyways, guys, we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.
Peace out.